Jackson, Michigan is a quiet manufacturing hub where the local history runs deep. For years, the community gathered at Kip's Pizza Taco House, run by Kip and his wife Patty. To their neighbors and customers, they were a successful, hard-working couple who appeared to be perfectly happy. That stability was upended when Kip began suffering from severe headaches. Doctors discovered a large blood clot on the right side of his brain, leading to emergency surgery on June 29, 1999. The operation left him dazed and childlike, forcing Patty to close the restaurant and become his full-time caregiver. Within days of Kip's release from the hospital, Patty vanished. When her sister arrived at the house to check on her, Kip claimed Patty had taken their Lincoln to visit a friend after an argument, but the family knew Patty had recently sold that car for cash, and Kip's confused behavior sent immediate alarms through the family. Local police were called to the darkened restaurant for a welfare check. Officer Wayne Bazard was dispatched to the scene, a rookie with only 4 months on the force, who was about to conduct what he assumed would be a routine inquiry. Bazard stepped out of his patrol car, unaware that the walk toward the front door would alter the trajectory of his life and the history of Jackson forever. Bazard found Kip sitting in a car outside the building, his hands shaking so violently he struggled to get the key into the lock. Kip finally let the officer inside, but refused to turn on the lights, leading Bazard through the shadows of the empty restaurant toward the kitchen. Inside the kitchen, Bazard found paper towels soaked in what appeared to be meat drippings near a large trash can. Kip quickly explained it away, claiming the mess was left over from a pig roast the couple had hosted before his surgery. While the explanation was plausible for a commercial kitchen, Bazard's intuition told him otherwise. He couldn't shake the feeling that the state of the room and Kip's physical distress pointed to a much darker reality than a messy barbecue. Bazard and a detective decided to return to the restaurant early for a follow-up inspection. They caught Kip off guard, watching from a distance as he carried a cardboard box away from the building and toward a neighbor's property. Bazard followed the path to the neighbor's porch and found the box sitting there. When he opened the clear plastic bag inside, he found Patty's cooked head. He immediately signaled for backup, confirming that the search for a missing person was now a homicide investigation. Kip was taken into custody immediately. The recovery of the remains gave the police their suspect, but the condition of the body left investigators with the task of reconstructing how such a methodical disposal had taken place. At first glance, the restaurant kitchen appeared to be properly sanitized. Kip had spent 2 days cleaning the surfaces, leaving no obvious signs of a struggle or a crime to the naked eye. To find what was hidden, forensics teams used luminol, a chemical that can detect blood even after it has been scrubbed away with soap and water. This reaction occurs because luminol reacts with the iron in hemoglobin. When the solution is sprayed in a dark room, it triggers a chemical glow, revealing the exact locations where blood was once present. Under the luminol, the kitchen transformed. The floor, the counters, and even the inside of the washing machine emitted a bright blue glow. The patterns revealed a site of extensive dismemberment that Kip's cleaning had failed to erase. Because the remains were so severely compromised by heat, forensic pathologists had to perform DNA testing to verify the identity. They needed to ensure that every fragment found in the kitchen matched the head found on the porch, confirming Patty was the sole victim. The chemical evidence proved that Kip had spent hours methodically attempting to strip the kitchen of any trace of his wife's existence. During the investigation, detectives noted that only 2 weeks prior, a woman in nearby Ann Arbor had been found dismembered in a landfill. The similarity suggested that Kip may have been mimicking the details of the Thomas Kraft case, which had been prominent in local news. Looking back at the Arts' marriage revealed a history of conflict that predated Kip's surgery. Patty had sought a divorce lawyer years earlier due to physical abuse, and the household was frequently tense because of Kip's use of marijuana and alcohol. Kip's anger had recently focused on a specific incident: Patty using bug spray to clean the kitchen after their pig roast. Kip became convinced the chemicals in the spray had caused his brain clot and blamed Patty for his medical crisis. Evidence of premeditation reached back months. Kip had previously asked a friend how much it would cost to hire a hitman, and specifically inquired about how to make Patty go missing without a trace. Even more startling was a conversation from the 1980s. Kip had described to a friend what he called the perfect murder, cutting a body up and boiling the meat to eliminate the smell of a decomposing corpse. These records suggested that the disposal of Patty's body was not a sudden act of panic, but the realization of a method Kip had been discussing for nearly 2 decades. At trial, the defense didn't deny the killing. Instead, the focus moved from physical evidence to Kip's mental state during the crime. His lawyers argued for a verdict of not guilty by reason of insanity. They claimed the trauma of the brain surgery and the resulting physical changes had rendered him unable to understand the wrongfulness of his actions. The defense focused on the fact that Kip had been forced to stop his antidepressant medication for the surgery. They argued this caused a psychotic break, where Kip believed he was killing the devil, not his wife. The prosecution countered with a timeline. Inquiries into hiring hitmen and boiling a body occurred long before the medical emergency. Furthermore, they highlighted the 40 hours Kip spent cooking the body and cleaning. This sustained effort proved he thought rationally and was hiding his tracks. The jury was left to decide if Kip was lost in a medical delusion or a killer who finally acted on a long-held plan. The jury rejected the insanity defense, sentencing Kevin Arts to life in prison without parole. Kip later attempted to appeal his conviction, claiming he suffered from marijuana psychosis during the murder, but the appeal failed. The restaurant eventually closed, removing a dark reminder from the Jackson community. Wayne Bazard eventually retired after 26 years on the force. He still views the case as a validation of his career-long practice of trusting police intuition when a scene doesn't match a suspect's story. Forensic science provided the proof needed for a conviction, but the case ultimately rested on the instincts of a rookie officer who refused to look away from the shadows of that kitchen.